Next, the last part of the mains paper is your optional subject. Now, optional subject, as many of you might already be aware of, will be asked for 500 marks. It will be asked for 500 marks. There will be two papers. Both the papers will carry 250 marks each. These will be the two papers that you will have. And all these things that you see listed on your screens, these are the optional subject options that you have. You just need to pick any one of these. So you have all these subjects which are technical in nature, may be related to your graduation, and then you have the literature. Literature can be of any of these languages. So you can pick the literature of any of these languages, or you can pick any of the other optional subjects that have been listed out here. Next, we come to a very important question that most of the candidates have, and that is how to choose the optional subject. Now, what we just saw was a list of all these optional subjects that you have. But which optional subject should I pick? This is one question that many of the candidates, when they are beginning with their preparation. So you should understand how to choose an optional very well, so that you are not confused what to choose and what not to, and you are not spending a lot of time into making the final decision. So here what I'll do is I'll give you some pointers, what should be done, what can be done, and what should not be done while trying to choose an optional subject. So first of all, before you choose the optional subject, what you need to realize is the importance of optional subject. What is the importance of optional subject? First of all, it has 500 marks in your paper. It has 500 marks of your paper, which is huge. And that is why what we say is that this is one paper that can make or break your mains examination. Because if you have done well in your optional, it becomes very easy for you to get through the next stage. And if you are not doing very well in the optional subject, it becomes very difficult for you to get to the next stage. And even if you are in the next stage, if you have done very well in the optional, mind you that the interviews have just 275 marks. The optional subject along with all the general studies paper have 1750 marks. So that's why it matters a lot how much you score out of 500 marks here. If you're scoring very well out of 500 marks, chances are very high that you will at least get to the interview stage. And it becomes very easy for you to get to the next stage or cross the next stage also. Not only this, even after somebody who gets the rank, just go back and analyze the scorecards of all the people who qualified the examination. What you will understand is that in all the general studies papers, all the 4 general studies paper, especially the first 3, GS 1, 2 and 3, what you will observe is that in general studies paper 1, 2 and 3, the marks are very similar. There is not much difference between the marks that has been scored by majority of the students who qualified in general studies paper 1, 2 and 3. The real difference that is observed is actually in either general studies paper 4 or in the essay paper or in the optional subject. These are the 3 areas where you'll see that the qualified students are different from the ones who are getting a very good rank. So to get a very good rank, it's very important for you to do very good in the optional subject as well. So that's why you have to understand the importance of the optional subject. That it will, first of all, it carries 500 marks, very important for you to qualify. And secondly, even after qualifying, to get a very good rank, it is very important that you do justice to your optional paper. So now, this kept aside, how to choose an optional? This is a question that many of you will have. So to choose the optional subject, I would say that there are certain criteria. First of all, try to look at a subject related to your graduation or your post-graduation stream. Do you have an optional? For example, let's say you are an electrical engineer. So for electrical engineers, we do have an electrical engineering option. So that can become a part of your list. So what the first thing has to be done is that you make a list. What we saw was a list of optionals, a list of 48 optionals. So first of all, start seeing whether or not you can take a certain subject or not. Let me go back to the example of electrical engineer. So somebody who is an electrical engineer most probably would not want to take medical science, right? Would not want to take medical science and would not want to take something like commerce and accountancy. That becomes a part of the process where you strike off the subjects that you know you cannot take. So what will happen is that initially only you will see that many of the subjects will be discarded. Out of 48 subjects, obviously, if I talk about literature, you have 22 subjects in the literature subject. So out of these 22, probably 19 or 20 of them you don't know about anything. So obviously what will happen is that these 19-20 subjects will automatically go away. Plus some of the technical subjects which are related to other branches which you have never seen. So in that case, what happens is all these subjects also go away. So automatically what will happen is it might come down to a list of 10 subjects. Let's consider for now 10 subjects. So this is the first stage of elimination. Now, for many of you, what may also happen is that you don't have any subject related to your graduation stream. For example, let's say you are a computer science engineer. Then in that case, you do not have any subject which is related to computer science engineering. So obviously every subject now that you're looking at is completely different. But still, the elimination process still stands here. How? Because obviously you know you cannot take electrical engineering. You know you cannot take commerce and accountancy. So that's why still the elimination process will still happen. Although you don't have any subject related to your graduation or post-graduation stream. What else can be done or should be done? Do you have any experience with the subject? Now, many a times what may happen is that, yes, I am not from, let's say, political science background. I have not done graduation in political science, but I'm very much interested in it. I keep reading things on political science. I keep reading international relations. So that becomes a perspective for me. It becomes a prospect, although it is not, I'm not saying that you should take that subject. I'm just saying that it becomes a prospect for you. One way in which you can choose is that you can rely on your experience, rely on your comfort with the subject. Rely on your comfort with the subject. Do you feel at ease when you're reading something on that subject? Or do you feel very exhausted if you are trying to read a certain subject? For example, let's say geography. I am not very good at geography, and whenever I try to read something on geography, I find it very difficult to understand all the concepts that have been written there. So obviously what happens is geography becomes a subject that I know personally that I should not take, right? Similarly, it can happen with many of you with mathematics. That mathematics as an optional, you might not want to take because you are not very comfortable with mathematics. So that becomes another criteria on which choosing or eliminating an optional can happen. Next, it can be syllabus. In what way syllabus? Either you see that the syllabus is short, or you see that it is a syllabus which seems easy. So this can become another criteria on which you can try to choose an optional subject, that the syllabus that you're looking at is short. So especially for the people who don't have enough time, for the people who are working somewhere and still have to cope with the optional subject. For that matter, you can always rely on a subject which does not have a very huge syllabus, right? So this becomes another part of the criteria. Then apart from that, you can look at the ease or access. So ease or access, what I mean here is that either you know that the material for this particular optional is very widely available, or you know that for this particular optional, coaching is available which can help you to decrease the amount of time that you take in reading the optional subject. Because see, what happens is in an optional subject, the amount of time that you might take to complete the optional would be very high. Sometimes it can take up to 3 to 4 months of time just to complete an optional subject. So in this particular case, what happens is sometimes to know that yes, I can rely on certain material, I can rely on certain notes, I can rely on certain coaching will help you decrease the amount of time, will help you in giving a clear perspective that this is how you need to go about in this particular optional subject. So in that case also, ease or access to material or access to coaching can also become one of the criteria for choosing an optional subject. Next, and probably a very, very important criteria for you to choose an optional can be relevance. Relevance where? Relevance in the general studies paper. How? Let's say you are taking an optional subject which has certain relevance in general studies paper 1 of mains, general studies paper 2 of mains, general studies paper 3 of mains, or general studies paper 4 of mains. In this case, what happens is that you are able to cover a part of your general studies paper through your optional subject. For example, an optional subject like sociology, an optional subject like geography, an optional subject like history, economics, public administration, political science and international relations. These all optional subjects have been seen to have relevance in your general studies papers, either 1, 2, 3 or 4 or a mix of them. So that's why these kind of optionals can become a popular subject or have become a popular subject, mainly because they have general studies relevance. And since they have relevance in the general studies, it can become a criteria for you to choose the optional, because partly you are able to take care of your general studies syllabus also. So that's why this can actually become a very, very important part of the criteria to choose the optional subject. So relevance in the general studies paper. So all these kind of things can always be taken into account when you are trying to choose your optional subject. But the optional subject, when it comes to it, it's not only about choosing or knowing how to choose the optional subject, but it is also about how not to choose an optional subject. So let me define the don'ts for you. The don'ts for choosing an optional subject. First of all, there is nothing as a trend. So many a times what happens is students analyze and we tend to over-analyze. So what happens is you saw that, okay, this year, last 3 years, I've seen that this is an optional subject from where a lot of people have been able to qualify. This has been an optional subject from where the questions that have been asked have been very easy. So a lot of students have been able to get through. But there is no guarantee that this will happen. And this has happened with a couple of options. So for example, public administration. Public administration is not a bad optional to take. But what happened is that going back to 2011-12, there was a boom that was seen. That a lot of students with public administration as their optional, they qualified the examination. So all of a sudden there was a trend that 2013 onwards, we saw that every other person was taking public administration as their option. Now what happened is that all of a sudden 2015 there was a very difficult question paper that was asked. 2016 it was repeated. So all of a sudden back to back there were 2 years where the question paper was very, very difficult. They did not take questions from the popular sources. They did not take questions from the areas which were known to the students, and all of a sudden it became a very difficult question paper to tackle. And this is when all of a sudden it lost its popularity. So that's why it should not be a trend. If you want to take public administration, do it on the basis of the criteria that I listed out just a couple of minutes back. Don't do it on the basis of a trend. So it's not only about public administration. I just wanted to give you an example. I'm not saying that public administration is a difficult subject or an easy subject to take. It differs from student to student. So that's why that cannot be a criteria. Whether it was difficult last year or it was easy last year cannot be a criteria for you to choose an optional subject. What else? Just because a friend chose an optional subject, I should also choose it. So many a times it can also become a criteria. See, what should happen ideally is that, let's say you are studying in a group. You are a group of 3-4 students who are studying for the IS examination. And 2 of these students have decided that history needs to be my optional subject. Now, based on this criteria, yes, you can choose history. But before that, just go through the syllabus of history, go through the aspects of history, go through the previous year question papers of history, go through certain articles related to the syllabus of history, and then decide whether or not can you take history as an optional subject. So it can be based on the criteria that yes, one of my friends has taken this optional subject, so rather I should also go for this optional subject. Yes, this can be a criteria, but it should not be the sole criteria, right? So this is another very important factor to know. Next, based on the fact that the topper was from this subject. For example, just because last year's topper was from philosophy optional, I should also take philosophy as an optional because that person got rank 1 with philosophy optional. If you want to debunk this myth, what you need to do is just go back and look at all the toppers of last 5-10 years. You'll see that there are a lot of options that they had taken. It will range from zoology to sociology to public administration to medical science to geography. So all these toppers have taken different kinds of optionals. So it was never their criteria. They did not take it just because somebody told them to take it. They did not take it just because the previous topper was from this subject. They took it because they found themselves comfortable with that subject. They took it because they knew that they can crack the examination with that subject. So that should be the criteria. It should not be a criteria that just because a topper took a particular subject, I should also take that particular subject. What else? Just because an optional is seemingly interesting, meaning that I find this topic very interesting. Meaning what? Whenever I read something based on this particular topic, I find it very easy to read. I find it very interesting to read. Now, what happens here is that topic might be just a part of the entire syllabus that you have for that option. And many a times this happens with political science as an option. What happens is there would be many students who would be interested in reading international relations. So they find very interesting whenever they read something based on international relations. But you have to understand that international relations is not the only part of the entire syllabus. You have an entire paper on political science. You have to be very good with political science also, apart from the aspects of international relations, to be able to crack the paper. So this is just an example. So just because something was found to be interesting should not be the sole criteria. Again, you have to break it down on the basis of all the criteria that we discussed, whether or not you should take an option.